Hello everyone, this is StrawberryShorty back with the letter. We're doing the Isabella is in a coma route. So, I think we're just at the party. Yeah, everything's pretty much the same. No new dialogue to start with. But we are trying to hook Rebecca up with Ashton. I don't know if that will work, but we will try. The commotion doesn't go further, despite the drunk woman appearing like she has plenty more venom to spill. In a little while, security shows up, escorting her out. Apparently she's the chief inspector's wife, too? As if this whole thing can't get any more fucked up than it already is. So I guess we're seeing this new because we get Hana out of there. What a mess. But the damage has been done, and beyond the repercussions this will bring, I'm more worried about Hana. Maybe Luke, too, in part. I've seen the man that hides behind his self-importance, and it is someone who cares for the person who stands beside him. No matter how questionable that is now. After all, no anger is worse than that of a scorned woman. And Hana, well, as refined and well-mannered as she is in front of their guests, I'm not sure she'll be all too willing to tolerate this. Her party, her home, her husband, and that woman has just dared to walk all over it. Yet when I glance at her, there's only defeat, a weary slump on her shoulders and a certain depth to her bearing. Breathing. Like the fight has already been drained out of her long ago. I don't know since when this has been going on. I don't know either of them well enough to judge for myself. I'm simply an outsider who happens to have some kind of connection with both of them. But the air of a person who wishes for respite, it's all too easy to see it in her, as she quietly watches the commotion carry on around her. In a moment, before I can think it through, I'm pulling her to the side and waving Zachary over to us.
Becca! This is a real oh, hey, Miss Wright.
Hello, Zachary. I told you to call me Hana. Did I not?
There is a red light on Zachary's face, and I don't think it's the sunlight in my room. Is it?
Yeah, you did.
Admittedly, this air of familiarity catches me off guard. I won't put it past Hana. Her standing in society compels her to keep appearances, the be nice to everyone sort of thing. While Zachary's growing client base sometimes calls for rubbing elbows with the rich and famous. Although from the way it appears, this one seems to go beyond maintaining a facade or work. I wonder how this friendship came to be. I'd ask, but we're starting to attract some curious eyes. Most of them are probably searching for more gossip, something to add fuel to the fire. Thankfully, there's no need to explain it to Zachary. He's aware of the situation all too well.
So, this is what you called me for? We gonna get Hana out of here?
That'd be great.
Soon he's leading the three of us out of the ballroom. Anyone who dares speak or approach on our way out, I shut down with a sharp glare. In a few steps, we're out, away from the commotion and the suffocating tension. I don't stay long with them, though. Even if I want to, Ashton's still somewhere in that crowd. Gotta go back for him, at least. No matter how much the idea of that alone sends an unpleasant twinge in my stomach.
Hey, I gotta go back in there. Completely forgot my bag like an airhead, and I'll see if I can tag Ash on the way out.
I would never put my bag down.
You'll be fine here, right, Hana? Not to worry, dearie. I'll just be right here. Zach will be with you if you need anything.
Besides, it seems Zachary can handle this without another person helping out. In fact, for some reason, I've got this strange impression I might be intruding on something if I elect to remain. Better to entrust this with someone she's comfortable with. And though it might be a little inappropriate considering what has transpired, a smile warms its way to my lips as I leave. Good on them, I suppose? Chatter has exploded through the whole ballroom once I return. Worried murmurs, clicking of tongues, and inappropriate gossip filters through the thick tension in the room. Most of them haven't even left the premises and they're already talking about it. Tomorrow it'll be on the news for sure, and every local broadsheet? What's a broadsheet? And tabloid in Luxbourne. No wonder Luke's knee-deep into damage control. With the scandalous woman gone, he has turned his attention to the media covering the event. Though, so far, he isn't faring well in the cleanup department.
Now, people, we all know the drill. I'm sure you're all itching to get a start on those articles.
Good thing Zachary isn't here. I can't imagine a man of his temperament dealing with someone like him.
But if I read one word, see one picture about this come morning, even a single shot of the bloody wine glass the harlot held, you will all lose more than your jobs.
Luke's diatribe goes on for another few minutes, after which he excuses himself from the area. There's a brief lull, a reluctant pause before the place becomes astir again, but shortly the buzz returns. Dancers have once again taken to the floor, and their guests' excited talk begins anew. But I couldn't care less about any of this now. Simply standing in the middle of it already gives me a headache. When the shock has faded, I just feel bone tired. I've accomplished nothing of what I come here for, and apparently Ashton's disappeared somewhere during the commotion. I'm not sure what pisses me off more, that he ignored me the whole evening and might have just left without saying anything, or knowing he obviously has some other motive for being here. Can't he at least trust his own friends for that?
He didn't have to lie to me.
It's the last straw. No longer in the mood, I grab my bag and head out, more than ready to end the disastrous night as early as possible. As it turns out, the night isn't done with me yet. Oh, here we go again. Because no sooner has the porter closed the door behind me, I find myself standing alone in the lawyer with one Luke Wright. A sign of Hana or Zachary. Well, it's good for Zachary. Just him and the agitated clicks his shoes make where he treads around the empty room. Are we gonna get a new scene with Luke? Away from the media's prying eyes and their guest-judging stares, it's easy to glean how much the scandal has him shaken. Not to the point where he's utterly lost his composure. He appears to have mastered himself enough not to. But an ample opening is there for a nervous edge to show on the lines of his shoulders.
What do you know?
The man is not as tough as he makes himself out to be. Sure, I've seen this before, briefly, in that 1 second in the hallway at school. It's a strange matter, however, to witness this out in the open. The school is out in the open. Behind closed doors, this is the real Luke Wright. Though, maybe that's because he hasn't noticed my presence yet, busy as he is with his thinking. If he's aware, I doubt he'll be acting like this. His pride is one thing that he will always wear on him. Even now, when I place a gentle hand on his shoulders... How do we place a gentle hand on his shoulders? And he whirls around to face me. There's a second-long moment of anger flashing across his features before it dissolves into confusion. He checks it away as quickly as he can, but it does nothing to change the impression I've built of the man in my head.
Daisy, must you be everywhere?
We've only met 3 times, Luke. Quit the dramatics. Besides, shouldn't you be aware of who gets invited to your party?
If I was, there wouldn't be any of that scene tonight. That munter wouldn't even get an inch within this property. I'd banner off Luxborn if I could.
Luxborn's not a planet. He rarely pawns everything off to their servants in Hana. Pompous, elitist douche.
Did you just come out here to lecture me about it? Because, Daisy, I can already feel one coming tomorrow. I don't need to hear one from you tonight.
You are a very unpleasant man.
So I've been told. Will that be all? If so, I suggest you go back and join every bloody goss in that room.
Not everything. And unpleasant and frustrating talking with this man is. He deserves the benefit of the doubt, at least. The questions and criticisms aren't lacking, of course. I don't know which one of these is the good option. Is it true?
Is there some truth to it, then?
Yeah, I knew that would work. To his credit, he does appear extremely offended and repulsed by the notion. But we know he's actually having the affair. His mortified expression alone answers the question, but I want to hear it from him, even if it takes nothing short of a derisive tone just to answer that.
Daisy? Oh, Daisy. If you believed every scandal that came along, I'd have 100 children already. Do me a favor and give me a break. I get enough of this false shite from the tabloids.
On your route, you literally admit to the affair.
Well, I'm sorry for asking. I just wanted to hear it from you, douche.
And now that you've heard it, does it change anything? Are we going to start seeing miracles now? A solution to poverty? Pigs flying in the sky!
Is some friendly concern such a hard thing to comprehend for you?
He pauses at that. Suddenly, he doesn't know what to do with his hands, and in the end, he simply stuffs them back to his pockets and sulks. Not too shocked it has caught him off guard. There probably aren't many people who tell him that. He's a difficult man to get along with. Zachary probably won't want to be anywhere near him, despite the man having the patience of a saint. Ashton he can tolerate, maybe? Though I highly doubt he can keep it up with Luke. Dealing with him requires more than patience. It's a huge mystery why I still bother. When the awkwardness passes, mostly coming from him, he merely glances away.
Maybe. I don't need your stupid friendship.
Wow.
Good heavens! I really want to ask how Hana's able to deal with you.
He's interested. I can tell from the frown he shoots my way. He's likely wondering how I've ended up knowing her. I'd humor him any other day. Probably tease him about it and keep him guessing just to annoy him if I was in a good mood. But my own patience is nearing its end. After Ashton, after the whole fiasco here, and now him. He won't even answer my own questions properly. Why should I answer his? Moreover, there are other matters more important than that. His marital problems, first and foremost. His attitude follows right after. Concerns aside, I can't help with those. Those are the things only he can fix, and it's definitely not by standing around here. So with a slight wave of my hand, I end it right there and walk away from him. Although I can't resist the urge to glance back before I leave, if only to have one last look at the man he really is. But the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it. Looming, hovering over shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. Like the first time I stepped inside this place in search of Isabella. He was there too, wasn't he? That man along with his wife and another person, Miss McCullough? And that shadow. No, a woman now. Her, no longer a dark blur. Terror rushes through every vein in my body. Crippling sensation gripping every part of me while she stares at me with a glare filled with nothing but hate and venom. It's like staring into the eyes of a woman I've unknowingly robbed of something precious. I try to say something, a warning. Before I can gather my wits and voice it out, someone shuts the door behind me, as if to keep outsiders away from the secrets this mansion possesses. she was about to leave the party, Rebecca caught sight of a sulking Luke. She asked if the accusations were true, wanting to hear the truth from him. Luke rudely told her not to believe everything. Frustrated, Rebecca left, but not before catching a glimpse of a shadow standing behind him. No, don't let us skip. The rush of fresh air against my cheeks does little to dampen the chill in my bones. By now, the sensation, the fear and disquiet, at least whenever I see her, is familiar enough for me. Already it has made a home in my nerves. I don't even notice my trembling hands until I cross my arms across my chest. The cold from the tips of my fingers seeps through the thick material of my shirt. We have definitely read this.
Someone has to tell that douche.
I start walking back before fear can cripple me again. It's not wise. Returning, that is, especially after what happened. But Hana's still an old friend, and Luke doesn't deserve whatever misfortune that letter might bring. I can't just leave those two in there. Isabella's right. She's real, and there's something she wants from everyone who has read that.
Becca, where'd you go off to? If we're done here, let's go.
My mistake, the second his voice cuts through the crisp night air, is that I've allowed my annoyance to get the better of me. Fuming, purpose forgotten, I whirl around and march towards him. One accusation after another piles up at the tip of my tongue, ready to be hurled at any moment. There's no hesitation holding me back when I fling it at him. The straight face he keeps as I do so doesn't help temper my anger either. It only makes me want to slap some more sense into him.
Shouldn't I be the one asking you that?
Becca, I've been waiting here the whole time. I told you I hate parties like...
Waiting since that mince in the hall.
And before that, where have you been the entire evening?
Right then and there, I might have forgiven him if he'd shown some ounce of remorse for leaving me like that. Maybe he could have looked away, given me a sign that my assumptions might be right. He doesn't even need to put them into words. A single gesture of confirmation is all I need. Rather, what I get is the same impassive look. He does that whenever he can't disclose anything. He does that whenever he's lying. In the face of it, amidst the thick tension, a frustrated huff is the only thing I can summon.
Be that way. Fine. Suit yourself.
No more words. After everything I've seen and heard tonight, I'm already too exhausted for those. So without speaking any further, I simply walk past him and stomp over to his car. Although before I can pull open the door, he calls out, one hand outstretched, a gentle weight on my shoulders.
Wait, Becca.
He pauses, his brows furrowing and his lips curving into a slight frown. I can almost see the gears turning in his head while he tries to piece together everything he wants to say. Before, perhaps, I might have waited patiently for those. He's not a man fond of using words to express himself. More often than not, any gesture of honesty will only come out blunt and coarse when forced. But today, for one reason or another, I simply can't summon that forbearance.
Ashton, if you're just going to waste my time again...
Becca, listen. I don't know how else...
That much is obvious. Why don't you just take the whole bloody night? Go on. I can wait until next year. Better yet, why don't you just keep it all to yourself like you always do? It's not like...
Rebecca, will you hear me out first?
The silence I can offer him. Whether I'll believe what he's about to say is still up for debate. A very long debate.
I honestly don't know how else to put this. I'm aware your parents have some kind of history with Hana Wright, and somehow you're friends with her. But you should stay away from these people for now. Especially the husband.
Who? Luke?
His expression deepens into a scout my mention of the name, but whatever opinion he has, he doesn't immediately voice. Still, something about it has greatly displeased him, evident in the stiff note his tune assumes.
Yeah, he's bad news.
Save.
Care to explain your reasons?
I've not meant for it to sound as harsh as it does, but anger and frustration have never been a good match for me, particularly on nights like this. It's not surprising when Ashton jerks back as if I've struck him. For a fleeting moment, something akin to hurt darts across his features, his eyes narrowing and hands closing in tightly into his fist at his sides. Then, swiftly, he glances away. I heard like a weird phone noise. Maybe that was from my room? Oh well. He glances away and shifts his focus on the line of trees nearby, like an answer can be gleaned from the dark expanse.
I'm really sorry, Becca.
What is it for? For the party? The vague answers he continues to give? Does it include all those times before this, the year's worth of it? I don't doubt its sincerity. However, at the moment, the forgiveness he's asking for isn't something I'm too willing to hand, furious as I am. It's frankly a wonder how I can keep myself from raising my voice at him.
We'll talk about this tomorrow, and you better have a proper answer for me by then.
There's a brief hesitation before I step away, a sharp moment of wanting to say more, of waiting to see if he has anything to add. He's only silent, eyes still trained at a distance. It is the last glimpse I see of him before I climb inside his car. If the door slams close with the same force as the anger I'm holding, its sound merely vanishes into the night, unnoticed. Oh, we've seen this before. Fall soon after, and shortly we're on our way back into the city. Yet even with the city's bright lights to welcome us, the dense, somber air from the mansion still lingers. The moon is almost at its highest by the time we reach Salemwell. Even after our respective heads have cooled off, the atmosphere within the car remains rife with unspoken tension. This isn't a problem so easily fixed with a few handshakes, but frankly, I don't know what will fix it. Ashton himself has no idea what to do when he alights and dawdles awkwardly in the middle of the car park, unsure. Alights? It almost seems like he's having an internal debate whether he should say goodbye or mutter another apology. I could have driven him away purely out of spite the second I'd gotten off. Still, old habits die hard. It's late and Ashton's flat is on the other side of the city. Irritation might still rear its head every time I look at him right now, but I'm not too cruel to put him up on another long drive. Especially when he still appears as if he hasn't gotten any rest.
You can borrow the couch.
I throw the keys to my flat his way before protest forms on his lips. Although he catches it with ease, he eyes it with a weary expression and shoots a puzzled glance my way.
You haven't been forgiven. We're still going to have that talk, believe me. But I'm not about to send you out on another drive looking like that. It's late. Go get some rest.
Where are we going? We're setting aside a lot of loose ends like this, but he appears to have accepted that reason, at least in the meantime. He does give me another questioning glance when I shove past him, pulling my mobile in the process.
Where are you going? I thought...
You go ahead upstairs. I need to contact Professor Andrew.
Andrew? Why would you... Oh, no. Please.
This again? It's been a week, Becca.
Yeah, there's another missed line of dialogue. Is this about the letter thing again?
I thought we already agreed that was a dumb Halloween prank. No need to bring in the old guy.
Of course, he's still skeptical. It makes one wonder if he's even seeing anything at all. Figures the curse will stay away from the scoffer. But this is another loose end tonight that I just can't leave alone, Ashton's beliefs notwithstanding. It just so happens that it's one I can delve into using means other than taking a look at the mansion itself.
Ashton, do you really think I still give a shite after that stunt you pulled tonight?
No, but this is...
I've spent so many years with him to know this is about to turn into another argument. Before I can finish it, I cut him off with a firm raise of my hand.
Look, I don't care. There are weird things happening around here. And yes, it's Isabella's brand of weird. Ghostly voices, strange sounds, and a bloody woman sitting at the back of my car. You don't have to believe me. And I no longer have the patience to convince you, so just leave me be, Ashton.
He doesn't push it, growing quiet instead, although I know he has a whole case of it prepared inside his head. But there's a reluctant shift in his movement when he steps away from our conversation. Short of climbing the stairs, he stops, turns to face me with an expression almost too... conflicted?
Are you really sure?
What?
That there was something? That you've been, seeing things?
Yes, I'm very, very certain. Now go, and you better not break anything in there. The last time I let you stay over, it was that statuette Belle gave me. You haven't even replaced that one.
The last of my ripper hand goes both unheard and unanswered as he disappears behind the stairs. Are they supposed to live on, like, the bottom floor? Because why is he disappearing behind the stairs? If things aren't as strained, he might have put a quip or two about that, followed by a light banner. Instead, for a long moment, I'm left staring after him. There's something in the way he asked it that nags, coupled with the expression. The whole exchange just feels unsettling. So, like, I'm missing a background or two in, like, chapter, I don't know, 3 or 4, and I have no idea how that's possible. Like, what have I not done? Where have I not gone? That I'm missing backgrounds. We're having a ghost fight. Head for the door. Sorry, I had to pause it for a second. We're gonna keep skipping. Quick time event. We're skipping it. So we survived, left the library, now we're Ashton. So does this mean we're not gonna find Isabella as Ashton? I was kinda hoping that would happen. Now I'm just sad. So, skip through the party. Completely ignoring Rebecca. Okay, next day. Chief, take us off the case. Okay, we get into a new case now. Let's see. Serves me right for being too idealistic, I guess. This one seems to bite back at me more often than not lately, if what happened at the hospital is meant to convey anything. This is probably the universe telling me that it's better to remain the skeptic I really am. Now here I am standing useless. Can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastards didn't even acknowledge my response.
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
Figures Rebecca would be the one to find me in this embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot, regardless of what I want.
Rebecca, now's not a good time.
The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Instead, she just looks, well, the storm I left brewing last night, it's right there on her face, ready to be unleashed.
When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now. Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye. Not even a word. Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking.
Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on. Although I'm not gonna lie, couch is great.
Stop it with the jokes, Ashton.
No.
Are you still mad about last night?
I've certainly seen this more than once already, but the familiarity of it doesn't really take away from the downhill turn this conversation's starting to take. Only an awkward cough serves.
Okay, of course you're still mad, but whatever happened last night, I really am. If you want, I'd even kneel or something.
Ashton, an apology is nice.
Alright, fine, okay. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I don't know. I've honestly...
I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers?
Oh, come on, Ash. For the whole party? Please, don't tell me that's all you did. Because I've never known you. You even took great lengths to avoid me. Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us in public. Some friendship, huh?
You know it's not like that. Going to be like that, Becca. I was...
Maybe you even just used me to get into the party. You said yes to being my +1, but you were rather excited to just peel yourself off, weren't you? Honestly, I'm feeling a bit used.
I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I lied to her. I honestly wanted to be there to keep Zach safe, to keep Rebecca safe. Just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest, by a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. But then Chief showed up, Hannah Wright appeared, and Luke Wright just couldn't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that, doesn't understand what I can and can't say to keep them from harm. It's all in her eyes and the tight line of her lips and her furrowed brows.
Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing that you couldn't even 2 seconds to make time for your friends?
Now, Becca.
It's confidential, Rebecca.
Hey look, we maxed her out. I wonder how many times I've told her all safe to keep them out of danger. My job is to praise it to be. I thought so too as a child. I was so clueless back then, wasn't I? But boy did I learn. You guys don't always win, justice isn't always served. Investigation is not looking at a crime scene once to get a eureka moment. It's sleepless nights at the crime lab with the tech guys. It's several days wearing the same clothes with Chinese takeout stains because I'm staking out a place. It's frustration when bureaucracy hinders you from looking into a case any further, or when you know the suspect is guilty but they get away scot-free on a technicality. It's seeing anger and pain and despair with every case.
I know you have a mountain of questions, but I've told you this so many times before. I can't say much more than that.
Still, the look on Rebecca's face, the resentment and the pain, it hurts me as well to think that I'm the cause of that. It's a familiar one too, something I've seen a lot over the years. I wonder how long it'll take before Zach starts giving me the same one. Or until I hurt Isabella in some way that any sincere apology won't ever be enough. What a mess. I'm a mess, and it's the people close to me who have to suffer for it.
Official police business, huh? So you did use me?
Used. The way she utters it just makes me feel like a total scumbag. It's not like I did it all on purpose. But I can't just hold someone else responsible for this, right? Who am I going to blame? The chief? Hannah Wright? Luke Wright? Doing so feels like cowardice. It doesn't change the fact that I'm the one who put us in this situation. I couldn't even look at her anymore, with this guilt eating me up inside. But then she laughs. Half-hearted, with barely a hint of cheer in it, but it's a laugh nevertheless. I honestly don't know what to make of it. What to do with myself upon hearing it. It's almost like the mere sound of it is meant to pierce.
Well, the least you could have done is tell me. Maybe I could have helped. Kept an ear and an eye out for you. I don't know. I could have been Irene Adler, maybe?
Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, but the mask, she tries so hard for me. I give her a smile of my own, though I imagine it comes off as unenthusiastic as hers. It's far easier to slip back into banter when it's like this, to just brush off everything. At least this way we wouldn't have to deal with the awful things.
The woman? Don't flatter yourself. Nancy Blue, more like.
Her sidekick would beg to differ, Ashette.
I couldn't stop a wry grin from forming in my lips. She probably still has the photo from that contest. She keeps it in her old diary. I never brought it up again, hoping she'd just forget about the whole thing. But the small smile on her face says a lot. Those were good times. A lot simpler, a lot more peaceful. Now things have changed. We're no longer as kids. Growing up together doesn't mean it all years. In fact, it already did long ago. Not just with the people we allowed into our respective lives, but also with us, as people, as friends. It really does get complicated when we get older, doesn't it? Not everything has to be, though. Even if it's in the form of a promise I have no idea when I'll be able to fulfill.
I swear, I'll explain when it's all over.
silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us. Something that Rebecca, thankfully, doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this out will only make it more, what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already.
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case as far as the job is concerned. I have the weekend off until I have to report to Chief on Monday. Although I don't want to just throw in the towel on this, orders are orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to say fuck off and throw my gun and badge it and become some vigilante, save the day and get my job back. I'd rather get my ass thrown in jail than do any of that. But it's also not in my nature to sit still and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about. Besides, there's someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
The other matter she mentioned last night specifically. Same stuff Zachary has also been trying to tell me. Things even the news has been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus, blamed on a single serial killer.
The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxborn police.
We're grasping as these murders are concerned. In the first place, I'm not even the one heading this investigation. You look at me treating it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulder. How sad is that? For now. Not yet, not until I've exhausted every little argument I could throw at it. To be honest, though, I don't know how apartment I couldn't bring myself not to act. And to Rebecca's claims, the last person important to me ends up in the hospital because I didn't listen. There wouldn't be enough regret in the world.
Well, glad to hear you're talking to someone, at least. Even if it's not me. You sure you're not bothering the professor or anything? Be a cheeky brat now. I'm sure you pointed that out yourself last night.
Becca, even if he is, you know he'll make time for me. I'm his favorite after all, aren't I?
An attempt to keep things light again. Bad move, apparently. All I get in response is a roll of her eyes and a door being slammed shut in my face.
I probably deserve that.
Skipping dialogue. Talking to Professor Clark about the case. I really want to know what that CG is I'm missing. It's driving me crazy. Anyway, this company has another game calling out apparently this year called Saint Maker. It's supposed to be another horror game. Super curious about it. Aside from those writings, there's another thing linking it, if not all, of those victims. The latter, I'll still have to look deeper into, of course. However, this little detail had been brought up since one of the investigators had been bothering me since one of the investigating officers brought it up. Even the news has picked up on it. Most of the victims are employees of the same company for their untimely deaths. We're a realty corporation. However, my suspicions are mine for the moment. The details are something Dak doesn't need to know until has something to show. It's enough that he's aware that I have an idea in mind. Same dialogue. Now we're going to the realty
Traffic cams
corporation.
were useless. And those were supposed to be high def to begin with. Damn, huge waste of taxpayers' money when we can't even use it when we need it. The people at Tech have been at it since we got hold of the footage, and all they managed to salvage was a scant few seconds before she crossed the road. How does that help?
Well, there must be some use in that alone. Like, maybe someone pushed her?
There was no one else. She just stopped right in the middle of the road. Just right in the fucking middle. It's like there was something there that prevented her from crossing. I just don't know what.
I don't know why we needed to re-listen to that.
Zach, Isabella's not that stupid. There was something there. That's what made her stop, and the traffic cams didn't catch it. Or someone. Someone was there.
Sure, I could also check the station for full reports. That's the easy, semi-legal way. But I don't want to bump into Chief right now. Yeah, guys at the precinct and all that. Best thing that come out of this, Isabella's right all along. Worst case scenario, find evidence that would implicate BRC or Luke Wright in a crime. So yeah, same. What's up with that? Searching for what I knew would be a whole lot easier if Isabella were here. Maybe she'll even tell me more about the sudden layoffs. She's always been...
Focus, Frey.
That's also the same dialogue. Worst quick time event in the game. Chilling at the park. Nightmare, still at the park. Isabella's accident might as well have been that ghost doing. Both Rebecca and Zach have seen it too. She will go after them as well. Yet here I am, walking up to Becca's door one slow step at a time, a stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in a better order. This past 10 years seems the only one she's been able to easily forgive is Isabella. I kind of wish that she was here to help me talk to her. I run a hand through my hair and straighten my jacket before knocking. Yep, she's not here. I've already come too close to losing one of my friends. Phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Yep, so call Rebecca. Of course. Always be thankful for them around. The worst times, however, Becca was there. It really doesn't feel like new dialogue either. And this too, unlike Rebecca, Zach took the time to listen to what Isabel had been saying. Even when he didn't believe it, there was definitely the first one to offer to try and help her do something. If he ends up in trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to. Yeah, so like, what does it keep stopping? It's only an accident, but what happened to Isabella has proven that. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting to now, actually. Well, at least that one was new. Hell, if only Isabella was here. Unconsciously, my attention drifts towards the closed door of her apartment, and it hits me the second my eyes land on it. A split second of an idea. I didn't bother looking into this because all this time I've assumed it was an accident. But Cooper died. Isabella would most likely have received all the files for the Ermengarde mansion. In fact, she might not need to. They were partners, right? It's no longer a trainer-mentee thing. Trainee-mentor thing. They both likely have the same copies of the documents. She might still be keeping some in her room. Something she hasn't been able to give us because of the accident. However, immediately after that thought forms, guilt also rears its head. The fact that I'm thinking about breaking into her apartment leaves an uneasy twinge in my stomach. It's wrong. All of it is wrong, inappropriate on so many levels of propriety I adhere to. If she was here, I wouldn't even consider this. Really now. But if she was here, would she allow it? My ghost swivels back to the door. It's as if the thing's inviting me. One thing's for sure, however. Knowing her, she'd do anything possible if it would save her friends from this curse. She was stubborn like that sometimes, and it's enough to harden my resolve. Despite her aunt having brought most of her personal stuff to the hospital, her room's still a mess of things she's accumulated over the years. Papers, instant noodle cups, photographs, and posters all over the room. No matter where you look at this, the place simply has Isabella written on it. Just 5 years and she left this big mark on our lives. I'd be lying if I say her presence didn't change a lot of things. In Zach, in Rebecca, in me. However, there's no time to reminisce about all this. As nice and nostalgic as these memories are, there's work to do. Things to find, if there's anything even in here. I won't know simply by standing, acting nostalgic. Wasting no time, I head straight for a study table where a chaos of papers and folders clutter the top. Checking out her laptop, getting her password. Granted, it's not yet too late for her, she may still recover, but now there's only regret.
Badge, a gun, and I can't even protect my own friends.
To the other people, these may just be a series of letters, but to us, to the people pictured on this page, they mean a whole different thing. There's Zach. Zach is fine. Yeah, I guess we'll say the positive option, since we're planning to do a friendship destroyed run.
You did tell me not to.
Christ, you just walked up into those people.
I know Hana most of all.
God damn it.
This is all the same dialogue we got the first time we played through the game.
Seriously, Zach.
Told you already.
Why would...
What's up?
There we go. I'll let us skip. Ashton, are you there? Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency to it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet? Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library.
Listen, Ash, that thing Isabella told us about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Salemwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is... related to that.
You're there?
Yeah. Zach, too.
With a quick press of the button, I switched on the loudspeakers and stepped back in Isabel's apartment.
Rebecca's out.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hey, Zachary. What?
We'll tell you when she...
I don't like the sound of that.
And she's back on the phone now.
I'm sorry, Ash.
It doesn't matter.
Why is this not burned to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere whole alive? Again, these are the same lines of dialogue, but it's not letting me skip them.
You okay? You're limping.
As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she screams from my grasp, it's with enough force she almost stumbles back if Zach had not caught her by her elbow. Even with another person shooting her concerned look, she's swift to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Back to lying. Little accident. Hard to believe when her arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm. Zach doesn't appear to buy any of it either.
Really? In a library? Don't they have some sort of safety protocols there, like reminders and those kinds of stuff?
Well, yeah. It kinda caught me off guard.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
And not to elaborate on the question further. Shortly, she goes very still, and the hand placed over her right arm shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Yeah, it's the same thing. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Let's see.
Oh, that is gonna be one hell of a nasty bruise.
Tell me about it. It was a...
Ouch! Like I said, nasty.
Is it the woman you mentioned? The one you said was sitting in the back of your car?
Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Ash, she was using my own Oh, it makes my...
You should have just ran.
And you know what?
We've already come close to losing Isabella.
Let's leave these issues for now. There are some...
Well, if this is gonna be long, you better get a quick remedy for that arm. Let me fetch you one.
That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Zach returns and hands Rebecca the remedy he promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy considering the rigid air in the room. This intense fumbling for words at first, though conversation gets steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed has been laid out for close scrutiny. Still not letting me skip. Like I thought maybe Zach would even say something.
We aren't getting
Chill out.
a pattern, something that might hint a way out of this. The guys... Anyway, they've been working...
Shoot, maybe it's just that there might be more to this than... I mean...
Hey, now don't...
Any idea?
How should I know? As a matter of maybe...
That or someone...
What does the letter Isabella found us? Sooner or later she'll get to us like she almost did with Isabella. So the only new line of dialogue.
Get... We should...
Oh my gosh, this is the same dialogue!
Everyone out!
Is Isabella still supposed to be the one calling out to us? Like when she's dead, I thought it was like her ghost or something. But like, she's alive. So, like, is that a glitch? We haven't been to the hospital at all yet. Now it's just the same thing with, now it's just Zach and Rebecca coming. Even though it's the same dialogue still. Zach's booming laughter echoes as he makes vague, wild gestures with his hands while talking. Something funny or amusing probably, because it's soon followed by Rebecca's giggles. Easy to forget one of us is still fighting for her lat. Yep, we're still eating, we're depressed, are we gonna start fighting again? With one of us absent, the world has an awful sense of humor.
With...
We can't stay here. We'd be sitting ducks if we remain in one place.
All right, so we just keep running like this?
We don't really have a choice, Rebecca. We can't even go back to our own homes. No matter where we go or hide, she's gonna get us.
It still doesn't change anything. You just said it. Nowhere's safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Zach. Not to a stupid chain letter. Someone was too gullible to pick up and show everyone.
Don't you think it's a bit too late to start laying the blame on someone else? It's not even helping at this point.
Who said anything about blaming anyone? Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well? Isabella warned all of us. In the first place, we wouldn't even be having this problem if you'd only...
Will you two cut it out? This ain't the place for I don't know, petty squabbles.
It's at the time and place.
Oh, let her say it, Z-Man. Nothing has stopped her from saying what she wants before. Knowing her, I'm pretty sure she has loads of things to say about this.
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Zachary.
And leave it to the two of you to hash it out here?
Zach, you don't have to...
You really want that? Really? Because I'm quite sure this ain't gonna turn out pretty whether or not I stay here. Because every single time, the two of you get into an argument, even before I have to be the one keeping this whole dumb friendship intact. I'm honestly getting tired of this. For once, can't you two hold a conversation without fighting when things don't go your way?
Then go ahead, leave. No one's telling you to stay. This is just like your movie again.
Oh, this and that are two different things, Rebecca. And you know what? Right now, I'd rather see my movie flop twice over than go through this.
All right, that's enough! Both of you, stop this!
We both faltered to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between the three of us. Yep. Still the same dialogue.
If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Well, at least the argument was a little different this time. Still felt a little forced. Anything new in the journal? Nope. Heading to the bar. Guess we're just ignoring Isabella. There was a choice I thought we would get in Rebecca's chapter that I'd heard about that we didn't get, so... For the sake of the one we've almost lost. If I can help it, I don't want her to wake up to this nightmare. It'll only break her, she'll blame herself.
This won't really bring her back. Maybe this is you trying to make amends, or whatever. I don't know. You're making your own decisions here. But if something happens to you, it'll be just that. There'll just be another dead body out there. Please, don't do something like this.
Don't worry. I'm not stupid enough to get myself killed. I just want things to go back to normal, Zach.
Another ditto falls at the heels of that one admission. The meaning of my words, too heavy, too striking, it stuns us into another lull. Attempts aside, we're both aware that's impossible. We're going to have to deal with the trauma right after. There will be the images, the voices whispering in our heads, the foreboding feeling. The stench of blood, gore, and death trailing after us. We may survive this, but those things, they will remain with us for a long time. One does not survive something like this without leaving something in you. Just the mere thought of what might come right after makes me dread it. But this has changed in all of us. But I suppose that outcome is more acceptable, the lesser of two evils.
3 hours.
So, the kind of danger we're in that swiftly puts me on edge, even before sleep completely fades from my mind.
G?
Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Oh, we should be going to have another case with Rebecca. With what's at stake, I can't let this curse win. If such a thing even makes sense when dealing with the supernatural. Whether or not the rest of them agree with this plan is inconsequential, their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. Zach? Let's see. Keep her in the
You
dark.
don't need to worry about it.
Nope, that was a minus. Load. I mean, it didn't seem like it actually damaged.
I need to head off somewhere
It didn't seem like it
tonight.
actually damaged our relationship, but I'm taking no chances. The vague answer. It's all I can offer, and hopefully this will be enough. It's not an outright lie, but that thought doesn't make me feel any less awful about this. It's worse than you, she's asking only because she's worried. Part of me wants to tell her it'd been exactly what I'm planning tonight. What good will it do, though? I've already told Zach one person is enough. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening the circle and revealing too much would cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least of where I'm heading off to, just in case. In case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I only intend to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. Rebecca doesn't need to know the kind of danger I might be throwing myself into tonight. She should prioritize herself and her own safety first before others. But it's never that easy with her, is
Am
it?
I allowed to ask questions this time?
You're asking one right now, aren't you?
It's a serious question, Ashton. Yes or no?
You can, but I can't promise I'll answer them.
That's a nice way of saying no. You might as well just tell me to shut up.
You know I don't mean it like that.
Is there something I can do at least?
For an instant I hesitate, pausing, fumbling for an answer. It's more difficult with her because all this time, she still looks to me as if I'm the same kid from years ago, who she depended on when she has yet to find herself, who she turned to for answers despite my lack of them. It makes me all the more afraid to fuck up this time. And in case I do, she's the last person I want to be with me. Getting her into trouble, getting her killed is not how I want to repay the friendship she so generously offered all these years. My friends are not supposed to be the ones taking the repercussions of my mistakes. Those are of my own doing and of my own responsibility. I fear a heavy weight on my shoulders they shouldn't be dragged into carrying. However, if there's one thing I can trust her with...
Stay safe. Keep Z-Man safe. Watch over him while I'm out there. Make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. You're good with that kind of stuff.
I'm a high school teacher, Ash. Not anyone's babysitter.
A grimace is on her face, but I know she'll do it even without me asking for it. She cares more than anyone, more than what her fiery temper expresses. And it eases something in me knowing that Zach will have someone like her here. Sure enough, after a stretch of silence, she eventually nods. She does not entirely agree with this. It's in the distant look on her face, but she's willing to trust me. For now, that's enough. Either way, it's best we simply leave things here for now. There's already an understanding, albeit something we don't both agree with. No need to push it further. With a light, reassuring squeeze on her shoulder, I stand up. At the same time, footsteps shuffle from the pub's people. Three of them inclined with the world Zeman said, when have I ever? Let's see. Oh. We're finally going back to the hospital? If this is all connected, I need that damn piece of paper with me, however ridiculous it sounds. If I remember correctly, it's among the stuff Rebecca brought that first night at the hospital. I'll find out soon enough. I just hope Isabella's aunt hasn't rid or disposed of it yet. That'll be a whole different problem. So I hurry, one footstep over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. But as with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule. And it does, in the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Rebecca turns just as I near, the corners of her mouth twitching up in a wry smile. She offers no greeting except for a slight tilt of the head. Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless. I hope to stand beside her. The breeze carries all of it away, while she hugs her arm closer to herself to keep warm, which raises the question why she's out here. The air's already heavy with the promise of rain. With clouds obscuring the view, there's really nothing left to look at but a dark blanket of nothing. I can voice a single word, express a disapproval of any kind. She raises a halting hand at me, sharply cutting off the rest of my question.
I'm not here to stop you. Wherever it is you're planning to go off tonight, I won't be able to anyway. You look like you've already made up your mind.
Go back inside. It's going to rain soon. It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning.
Away from the noise inside. Everything's been so chaotic these days. This little break is nice. Even if it means standing in the middle of a parking lot, of all places.
When Ashton shut up the pub's main lounge again, he found Rebecca alone in a corner. Even without him saying anything, Rebecca knew he had a plan in mind. Something he could only hint at, to Rebecca's disappointment. When all was said and done, the detective simply asked her to stay safe.
Getting out of this mess would definitely be better, but hey, you take what you can get, right?
It'll be over soon.
The confidence in my own words surprises even me. How do I know? Why am I so sure? When, in truth, what I'm about to do is a last-ditch effort. Anything, we're back to square one. It's the last lead I have. After this, we have nothing else to go off from. Regardless, it seems to amuse her, and her laughter soon sounds above the murmur of the distant traffic and the light draft sweeping around us.
How I wish. I'll be content as long as she stops showing up in my mind whenever I close my eyes.
The brain doesn't easily forget trauma.
I can try, but you know, up to us.
Especially to Isabella.
Tell me about it.
Not that kind. I'm talking about us. As people. I hate to admit it, but this whole deal with the ghost, with the curse, it also brought out an ugly side to us. To all of us.
She says, blushing.
And it made me realize plenty of things about myself.
It's her face. I've seen it countless times before. And every time I see it on her, it's usually followed by a memory, a silly story, or something embarrassing I've said from childhood. Unlike me, who'd much rather forget, she remembers all of them so easily.
Do you remember that one time, back in secondary?
Which one? We did a lot of dumb... Well, I did, but you get the point.
Mandy.
I thought you still don't like her. Don't tell me you've kept in contact with her. Are you guys friends now or something?
Oh, no. We do see each other sometimes. On the way to work or when I go out for lunch, but it's nothing like that. We're not friends. Not in this lifetime. I don't think so. For her, we wouldn't even be friends, yeah? You stood up for me that day. From then on, things have changed.
She makes it sound like I'm some sort of hero. Mandy was in the wrong, of course I'll defend her. If no one's gonna stand up for her, who else will? Chances are it would have escalated, and who knows, or transferred. Any decent human being with an ounce should know better. I acted because I know what I'm doing is right. It's as simple as that. And she smiles as if it's worth more than that, a fondness that goes beyond nostalgia.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, once said, you know, just in case anything happens, I've always been in love with you.
She says it so plainly, holding my gaze in a voice too frank that her admission stuns me into silence. Like the wind has suddenly been knocked out of me in one fell swoop. No words will form, not even a single coherent thought as to the meaning of her words bears down on me. Nevertheless, she continues, desperate to express everything she has kept to herself all these years. This is what the fondness is. Why, for her, it weighs heavier than any feelings of nostalgia can carry.
Since that time in secondary, since I made that promise to never leave, I've always truly loved you.
Afterwards, there was relief, a weight suddenly an answer. Facing the sincerity behind her words, I found myself grasping, scrambling for the words. Because as flattering as this is, it has simply never occurred to me that she'll ever hold affections like this for me, even when we spent so many years alongside each other. How we practically grew up together, and not once did it cross my mind. I do appreciate her presence in my life. Anyone with a working eye can easily see that. Anyone would appreciate becoming the object of her affections. However, more than that, she's a so close, important friend to me.
Rebecca, I'm...
A drawn breath, ragged, unsure. Uncertain how and which words to put together come all of a sudden. But before I can even string two phrases together, she closes me down. It's the awkwardest looking kiss CG ever. The next thing I know, her mouth is on mine, warm yet unyielding. Just like the person who owns them, who presses herself against me, almost desperate, longing for that love she has held onto for so long. Even a gesture as intimate as this, Rebecca's character shows, unintentional or otherwise. Fierce, bold, demanding, a storm on her own. And soon I find myself being drawn to it. Into her. There's nothing gentle about her kiss, far from it. It's urgent, it's frantic, brimming with every pent-up emotion she has had, years and years of it. Maybe at another time it will be, when death's not looming over us. But for the moment, right below a wholly different storm brewing, we both cling to it. Perhaps because it's the only thing tethering us both from losing to this madness. A smile's on her face when we part later, kinder than every single one I've seen from her so far. It's nice to see it on her, it suits her more than the glares or the frowns, but at the same time it only serves to baffle me. When I move to open my mouth to say anything even though I've yet to find the right words, she lifts a hand on my mouth to silence me.
You don't have to answer me.
Yeah, but you should... I should...
No, I mean, not right now.
Okay, now I'm really confused. One moment you're saying you've been in love with me since secondary, now you're telling me to shut up?
If you want to interpret it like that, all right.
No, really. Some explanation would be nice, Becca, because a lot of things are going on right now, and I'm afraid I can't catch up. Especially with this curveball you just threw.
It means what it means, Ashton. It's not that I don't want to hear it, but you said it yourself. A lot of things are going on right now. Our lives are still in danger. There's still the curse. I've waited this long to tell you. I could wait a little more. We'll talk once this is over. Once everything's back to normal again, and we don't have to worry about other things.
I'm sorry, Becca.
I'm not even sure what I'm apologizing for. That we're stuck in this nightmare? Or because I'm somehow holding myself responsible for having no idea how she felt until she said it to my face. Regardless, she continues to smile through all of it.
It's not your fault. Don't say that. I'm the one who should apologize. Since I suddenly sprung this up on you when you have other things to do, I just thought I should let you know. Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do. Just promise me you'll be careful, all right?
She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she gives me a push with a force only heavy enough to throw me off balance. Caught unawares by the gesture, for a few moments I fight for purchase against my car's trunk, bracing my hands on its smooth surface. When I look up with a string of reprimands ready at the tip of my tongue, Rebecca's already halfway through the parking lot. Ashton left for the mansion at nightfall, but when he got to his car, he found Rebecca waiting for him. Fearing she might not have the chance, she confessed her feelings and kissed him. Afterwards, she assured him they would sort this out once they are free from the curse. She only wanted him to know. There's a small skip in her steps while the breeze carries the light tune she's whistling. On a whim, I let its notes be the last thing I commit to memory before slipping inside my car and driving off. This is like a new beginning more than anything. Another reason to be optimistic. Oh, yeah. Wind has already picked up upon my arrival at Ermengarde Hospital. Completely forgot about this. I thought we'd just be at the mansion again. Somewhere the faint sound of thunder booms, filtering even through the concrete walls of the place. Though sparsely manned around this hour, the on-duty nurses' lively chatter easily fills the lobby. Some recognize and coax me to joining them when I pass by, but all of it has been turned down in favor of rushing straight to Isabella's room. Her aunt's nowhere to be found when I slip inside. On the bed, Isabella remains still, with a constant beeping of the machines as the only sign she still lives. Same as the other day, as well as the day before that. Nothing has changed in her condition. And every single time I've stepped into this room, the sight of her weak and motionless still sends a painful pang in me. Despite what the doctors have been telling us, despite what happened during our last visit, I'd like to believe she will still make it through. And when she wakes up, all of this will be over.
Hey, scaredy cat. Hang in there, alright? I'm going to fix this mess we're in. And once you're okay, you're buying a whole month's worth of ice cream.
She won't be able to answer, not yet, but I imagine her laughing at me right now, daring me to make good on that silly promise. And I will. Finding a letter among her belongings doesn't take long. 5 minutes later, I'm fishing it out from one of the side pockets of the bag Rebecca brought with her before the second night after Isabella's confinement. Why would you bring that? To think no one bothered to throw this away. I guess that's lucky. I mean, look at this thing. I won't take it seriously if it wasn't for all the fucked up stuff that's been happening. This is the sort of stupid people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. Do people seriously make copies of this and pass them around to try and save themselves from a possible curse? That's the inane logic that could be garnered from the fact that there are multiple victims. Was Isabella not safe because she had simply shown us this one instead of sending 5 different ones? What sort of selfish person would even endanger 5 other people just to save their own skin? More importantly, what does any of this have to do with the mansion? There'll be time for answers later. I've wasted enough time here. Quickly, I stuff the letter into my pocket. With one last look at her prone form, I close the door behind me and head back to my car. So I wonder if there's something special you have to do to trigger that choice I heard about. Ashton dropped by Ermengarde Memorial Hospital for a visit before heading to Anselm Village. Upon leaving, he promised the comatose Isabella he would find a way to break the curse, and he wouldn't be able to do that without a letter still in her possession. I've already seen the storm scene. So we should end up freeing Marianne from her cell. Well, I'll actually pause here because this should mostly be the same dial. So we got to the mirrors and we did get at least one new line. So we'll listen to it.
What about Isabella? She warned you, didn't she? And you think you deserve to even an ounce of her love? How dare you even confess your wretched feelings on her bedside? You can't even save her. You can't even do anything for her.
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day.
Yep, back to normal.
So tell my friends what might have happened here. They're at the crawl. You know the place, right?
Trail off letting the meaning of my words hang in the air. Pausing. This will probably be a brief unpause. We're fighting with Johannes, and we hear... Hearing that voice, it's as if I've been doused with a bucket full of ice water, cold water. Familiar, too familiar. More importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it here. She shouldn't be here. She should still be at the hospital, safe. Yet it seems as though a part of me still hangs onto a sliver of hope that she'll be here. So without sparing it some thorough thought, I snap my eyes open. Of course, there's no one.
Did you really think she'd be here?
Except for the murmur of voices in my ears, whispering phrases as sharp as a blade, each one as scathing as the next. Words that, although I know my friends won't ever utter, still dig a deep wound, seeping into me as if they're simply another truth.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
Yep, so we're able to skip again. Luke's chapter, I think, should be different since we have Hannah alive. In one corner, Zach and Rebecca watch, almost as surprised to see me. And calls with them.
Zach, I said 4 hours.
I know, but Rebecca asked and... Come on, bro. You know I ain't a very good liar. And you know how she is.
And it didn't even occur to you to stop her?
I tried, all right? Even G. She was out the door before I could say anything.
Did you really think you could hide this from us?
I had to, Becca. And how did you guys even get in here?
Someone was screaming, Ash. It led us here.
We...
Well, at least it's letting us skip again.
And you are going to die alone.
Shut your fucking mouth.
You know it's true, though.
Yep. So we should be running into Luke right soon. Zex helps McCullough first, assisting her up and through the gap before giving a hand to Rebecca. The moment the ladies are in, I nod for him to go through.
I'll watch your...
And really, Daisy?
Luke, this...
Well, what's your excuse? Oh, well,
Lee, Rebecca, we ain't...
not a good down to can't say the same for the... But really now, I swear this is how...
Why don't this freaking scene? This is the one they will never let me skip.
Now...
So this is another one I plan to do 2 versions of. Since we're going for this is going to be Ashton and Rebecca, we're going to go for the sad version first.
Sorry about this. I really...
So we die saving our beloved's life. At the top of the staircase, Hana Wright stands. To make matters worse, that thing's behind her, menacing, a rotten hand wrapped firmly around her neck. Oh, she's crying! She's not possessed this time! She looks like death. Pale and shaky eyes are with tears. We nearly don't hear her as she pleads.
Help me. Please.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. Here, there's only a whispered sigh, a fading breath, and a lone heart that beats one last time. She got one thing wrong, though. I did not die alone. We've devastated Rebecca. Don't worry, we're gonna get the happy ending. So, let's see. We're gonna end this part here, and the next time we will get the 2 different, I believe there are 2 different endings, we'll see. But, for now we're ending this part. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye!